Welcome back and Happy New Year. We got another video for you from the Nemesis Gear channel here. And it has been a while since I've done a video, and it's also been a while since I've done any metalworking. So I'm gonna actually do another wand today. It's been quite some time since I've done any enchanter wands, and I'm doing a spiral twist on this, and there's not a great angle to get video of the copper brazing that I'm doing right now. And it's been quite a while since I've done it, so it took me a while to kind of get used to it anyway. But frankly, it takes quite a long time to heat each piece and get it all brazed up. So um, I have edited out a lot of this. But basically, what I did is I just made those little half circles, and brazed those together on the ends with that rod in the center, and then put that in the vise and twisted it to get that spiral. And then I've added the brazed on a couple of screws on the ends here, and then gave it a good clear coat. And this is going to be the handle. Now the screws, I wasn't too terribly worried. Basically you're heating this up till it's red hot in order to get the brazing done. So I wasn't too worried about messing with the temper on it, because I am going to also epoxy these in as well. So now that that handle's done, I've actually edited out several hours worth of work there. Mostly because there wasn't any really good footage, and it was a lot of just sitting there with a torch, just running, waiting for stuff to heat up. So hopefully I'll come up with a better filming system than my phone to get these videos. I just don't want to bring the really good camera out into the workshop and, have the sawdust and the, torch and, bits and pieces flying everywhere on the camera. So, um, anyways, so now that I've got the handle done, what I'm doing is I've got a piece of walnut, and we're going to turn the blade of the wand here. Again, if you haven't heard my videos before, when I talk about the wand parts, I usually talk about them in terms of sword, kind of comparable to like a sword. So you have the pommel, the grip, the guard, and the blade. It's just easier to refer to those parts in general for me. Um, so, anyways, I've got to get the blade of the wand roughed in, and I'm just marking out about how deep. What I have to do is drill out the wood for the handle to screw up in there, and there's going to be a small pilot hole for the screw, and then a wider hole so that it covers up those brazed ends there and kind of blends in nicely. So if you want to see, basically the first part of this wand is just like all the other wand videos that I have, where I'm turning the shaft down to generally the right size, and then putting that in the chuck, and that way I can feed it into the chuck as I go. Now I'm just holding this up to kind of make sure that I've got all my lines and stuff right, so I know generally, where I can make my designs, because I have to drill this out. When this is drilled out, I don't want to get too skinny there, and actually drill through to the outside, because I've got it too skinny. So we're going to shape this up. Now I'm just using my spindle detail gouge here on the walnut wood, and we're gonna ebonize this walnut as well. As I think that the black that you get from ebonizing walnut is gonna work really nice with that shiny copper. So now I did try on the finish on this a polyurethane finish. It's a little bit different too, so it worked out pretty good. But we'll see that at the end here. So now that I've got the general shaft set up, and the outer contour of where the blade of the wand is going to connect to the handle, and that little sort of tulip shape, that's kind of that transitional area. If it was a sword, I'd call it the guard, but wands are not quite the same, but I do like to have that transition between the grip and the blade. Um, but I've got this neat little device here that I picked up sometime about a year ago. It's called a steady rest, and honestly, it's a real pain to kind of get set up. But what that's going to allow me to do is engage those bearings, and that's all nice and tight. And that's going to keep that wand from bouncing and flexing around, so that I can now keep this just as centered as I possibly can um, for drilling this out. And that works good for um, doing other types of wood turning as well. But I got the small one because I'm working with the wands, and it's going to really allow that to be drilled out nice and centered. So I've drilled a pilot hole, and that's going to be about the size of the screw on there. And the now I've got to drill out a little bit bigger. You saw I measured that. So this is the size hole that I need. It's not going to be quite as deep. That's going to be the first part of where all those copper wires are braced together on that spiral, and that's going to get set up in there. And I do need to taper this as well. So I'm going to try the fit here, and it does feel like it's engaging well, and it looks like it's going to screw in pretty good. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to take a file and just a little bit give this sort of a funnel shape. So that way it sits right down. As you can see, it goes right up onto that handle of that wand. And now that's done, I'm just going to refine this shape a little bit, as I did leave a little bit extra on here so that I would know where I could drill that out, and it just needs to be refined a little bit. Then there's a whole bunch of sanding, which I have edited out because there's no need for you to sit there, even at 400 times speed, watching me sand for 10 minutes. So, because it usually takes quite some time to do all the sanding and stuff like that. So we'll get that all sanded out. And now the blade of the wand, normally I would go and do a taper on this after I get it set, and I'm just doing a final fit here, and that seems to fit really well. But this one I'm going to put a spiral on the blade. So I think I do have one other video of where I do a spiral blade. So now that generally is set up, I left a lot of meat on that because when I do the spiral, it's going to be a lot thinner. But now I have to make the pommel. I decided to go and do a small, just to continue that wood for the the blade and the guard, and then also on the pommel, so that just the handle grip, which is right around 3 inches or so. The wire itself, 2.5 to 3 inches. And then the pommel is just about maybe 3/4 of an inch or so. So, and I'm doing this similar, but what I'm doing is I've got another piece chucked up here of walnut, and I went ahead and pre-drilled the holes on this. So I want to get that fit right, and then after I have that done, then I'll move the tailstock back up and do that final shape. Just because of the direction this is going to have to go. And I'm trying to get this as centered as possible. When you do a wire twist like this, it's almost impossible to get it perfectly straight. And so what I'm doing now is just you can see it's just a slight bit off-centered, and I'm just kind of tweaking the wire just to get it as centered and straight as possible on there. So we'll take that back out, and now I've got the tailstock moved back in to support it, and we're gonna just do a fairly simple shape on this pommel here. And then once we have the shape done, we'll be able to ebonize this with the ebonizing solution. And I'm just kind of measuring out so I know about how far I want to go on that. The thing is that I have to have enough meat on the part of the pommel to kind of cover up part of that wire. So just like the part where it went into the guard, um, there has to be a wide enough place, to drill out there, for the holes, and the pilot hole for the screw, and then the wire to slide up in there. So got that done, and just getting this final shape kind of refined. It's been quite some time since I've done any videos. I guess I just got really busy last year and got a little sidetracked with things. So hopefully this year I'll be able to do some more videos for you. I do like to hear from people. If you want to comment and stuff and let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see. So I've got this basically set up with the general shape I want. Did the sanding. I put a little wire burn there towards the bottom, and this is just that ebonizing solution, which is made with distilled vinegar and quadruple aught steel wool, and you just let that sit for several days until the steel wool dissolves, and then filter it out, and that's going to react with the tannins in the walnut wood. So now I've got the blade, and I'm just using this flap wheel, and I just start with like a 80 grit, and then work up through 120, 240, 320. To get that, work that spiral in, and I'm just doing it all by just looking at it. So I just eyeing how it's the shape and stuff it needs to be, and I'm just doing, this is the final, the really fine sanding here. So I'm just getting that all sanded out. And so yeah, we've got a pretty decent little spiral on there. All we've got to do is get the ebonizer on this as well. And you can see that, as soon as you start putting that on, it starts reacting with the tannins and turning that dark, almost black. This particular piece of walnut did pretty good about going black, but as you can see in the end, I'll have the photos up, and you can see it. There is some kind of brown showing through as well. This is after the ebonizer is dry. The only thing that is left to do on this, I've kind of just fitted it together to see how it's going to look. I think it's going to work really well at this point. But now I have to just do a really light sanding on this, because when you do the ebonizer, it raises the grain. And then we'll get our clear coat on. And I did try a polyurethane on this as well, and it's not too bad. I think I like it a little bit better than my acrylic clear coat, but it still looks a little bit plasticky. I think I'm just, I think if I'm going to do a clear coat, I think I'm partial to lacquer. But anyways, that's how it turned out. I was really pretty pleased with this. It's got that polyurethane, gives it a nice shine to match the really bright copper, shiny copper handle. And so we've got that all finished up, and I do have that on Etsy as of today. It just kind of depends. These take a long time to make, and so I consider them special editions. Unfortunately, that means that they're a little bit more expensive than the standard ones that I do. But if you'd like to pop onto Etsy, it's nemesisgear.etsy.com. You can kind of check out and see what I've got in the shop. Hopefully this one is still available for you if you're interested in it. But if not, you can see what other Enchantress wands I have. I did also do another one that was insanely complicated with a lot of scroll work and stuff, and it took about a day and a half just to do the metal work on it. So it's a really special edition. I won't do those very often, but definitely check out the shop. Hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure that you like and subscribe, and give me a comment. Let me know what other things you'd like to see in the future. Thanks for watching.